So I'm going to take these 3D laser cut pumpkin trios and I'm going to repaint them for fall this year. These come in 3 pieces, so it comes laser cut, so it comes with the top piece and then you have your back board. So I'm going to, this year, I'm going to go more neutral, more natural tones. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these apart. I'm going to base the background in the Fusions chocolate, and then I'm going to come up with the pumpkin and I'm going to use the Dixie Belle Dropcloth. The transfers I'm going to use for decorating is from the Prima Re-Design. It is the Sunflower Farms, so there's some beautiful color tones in here for fall, and we're going to create this as our background between the base and the 3D lasered pumpkin. So I'm going to get these started and I'll be right back after I get the base coats on. Okay, so we have these all finished, 2 coats of each for the chocolate and the drop cloth for the Dixie Belle. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our transfers, and it comes in a roll, so we're going to lay them out and then go figure out where we want to place our pumpkins. So taking the small one, there's a small area here. We're going to place the pumpkin here. On what we can do, we can cut that out. Then we're going to place the bigger one, the tall one. We'll place that here, and that will get this area in here. And then this one, we're going to place it over here. We'll have a little bit of room to negotiate. But I also have a second roll, so if I find that I'm not getting enough, I will take the second roll and we will use that for the medium sized. So let's get to cutting out our transfers and then getting them onto the base. So we'll get the transfer on the base, and then your transfer comes with this tool to transfer your design on. And then we'll get that centered around here. I want to get as much of the design on here as possible. Press down, stick to the, not worried about the edges, we'll sand that off. And then with your tool, we'll get the transfer on. You can also do this with decoupage if you can find some nice decoupage paper. I haven't been out yet, so the next project I do, I'll do it with the decoupage if you don't have the transfers. You can find out Prima Re-Design transfer website, find it your local stockist, and you can look for Sunflower Farm. That's the transfer that I am using. You can start to lift and see. There we go. And start to pull up the transfer as you start to transfer the image down onto your surface. Be careful you don't go too fast. Careful that you're going to make sure that you have no little bits left behind. So it gives you time to go back and lay them down. Allow your base to dry after the second coat for a couple of hours so that you make sure you have a really, really dry surface. You may find that if you put your transfer on and you haven't had time for the paint to dry, it's going to stick to the surface, and as you pull up the transfer, you're going to pull up the paint. And it takes a lot of work to go back and keep that paint on the surface while you get your transfer lifted. Sometimes it can be done if you have the patience for it. Sometimes it can't. There you go. Okay, and then just with your sander, just sand the edges. Clean that up. Okay, looks beautiful or just like that, but when you put your overlay on, then that's what your piece is going to look like. Then you're going to glue these two pieces together, and then you're going to glue it into the stand. So I'm really liking how this is turning out, nice and beautiful and natural. Let's go on to the next one. I'm going to use this one. I want to get that sunflower in here, I think. The other one, actually, what you can do to get this all on one, I can get here. This one can be turned. I can turn this one. You just got to play with it and see what you like the most. So I think what I'm going to do is go back to my original idea. I like this one. Around here. One nice thing about the transfers is that you can cut, and then you can get some of the other pieces in some of the other areas as well for you as part of your design. This one, okay, I'm going to cut this up in a couple of pieces so I can get most of this transfer on this surface so that I could see more of the pattern. So I'm going to come in here on this one, because then I can place this alongside of the pumpkin in the background. This one I'm going to move around the top. Okay, so this piece will lay down here. this in the middle. I'm going to take this, we'll wrap this around the side. So I'm going to transfer that down first. And just going to cut out some smaller flowers to fill in some spots here. I'm going to fill one in so it's in the top. And this one will have this coming here. This is a project that you can do in one night. Once you get your orders supplied, I'll give you a link to where I purchased the 3D pumpkin set from. It comes in 3 pieces, 3 sets. It's a set of 3, sorry, that you will then paint and put together. And then I will link you to where I got the paint and the transfers. And then you can see that piece. And now we'll get on to a quick color one here. Oh, got some paint smeared on here. Let's play with how we're going to center this, because I want this in the middle. And then we'll use up some smaller pieces to fill in the sides here. This is a perfect one because it's already on an edge. This will be a perfect piece to come into here. And we'll get that. So I'll place that. And then we've got some smaller pieces that I'm going to arrange on this side. So I'm just going to lightly mark with a pencil, just so that when I put this down and take this off, I know where the edge of the transfer is going to go, and you're not going to see that one. And then this one I want to move so that the sunflower gets more into the center of the piece, right there. All right. I know where I want that to lay. Let's lay this piece. I'm going to lay along this edge. If you find that your transfers are taking a while, just a little bit of elbow grease will get there, just in case. Some of them might need you just to put a little bit of muscle in behind there to get that transfer to release. So as I was mentioning, you just got to have a little spot that's just being a little stubborn. You just got to work at it, and then once you see it, it will start to release. Let's see if we can go from this side. There we go. Just that little bit. Now I'm going to put these on my sideboard is where I'm going to display them. I don't recommend you putting these and then putting them outside because transfers don't do well on the exterior as much as you might put on several coats of an exterior protection to seal it, especially if you're going to be in the direct elements. You'll find that the transfers will start to lift or fade in the sun. So you might get away with being able to do it with decoupage paper, but I don't recommend it for transfer papers. I'm just going to move that forward because I want it over here. If you're very careful, you can do that before it transfers to the surface. And with your backing paper, just give it a burnish, make sure it adheres to the surface. I'm just going to